For the people that watched the debate, the presidential debate on Tuesday, they may have been they may have been the most emotional in history, thanks to the interruptions, angry fits, and outbursts from the fat ass 45. There was little policy discussion, rational debate, or rationality at all. Even though Democratic candidate Joe Biden tried. Instead, viewers were treated to the rantings of a historical, mercurial man who wants to be reelected as squatter but doesn't deserve to be. And yet, the word that perhaps best describes Fat 45's debate style was emotional. Basically, it was almost totally absent from the coverage of the event. And why? Because Fat 45 and Biden are both men, and emotional is a term typically reserved for women. Anger, it should be said, is an emotion. So when women get angry, people notice, and because anger is widely perceived as unfeminine, a woman who gets angry may find that others twist her emotions into something more nefarious. She's not just angry, she's hysterical, she's impulsive, she's fucking crazy. To follow the line of a stereotypical thinking further, crazy women make rash decisions that are unpredictable and scary that can't be trusted to regulate their own feelings, let alone lead the country. There's a reason she's crazy or she's hysterical or are among the go-to Democratic the Republican attacks on strong women leaders. Those are like the words that they like to use, and why the images of Hillary Clinton, Nancy Pelosi, Senator Kamala Harris, and Representatives Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez that you find on the Republican wing websites or the squatters or the fat asses Twitter account are routinely unflattering photos of these women with emotionally exaggerated expressions like bulging eyes, pointing fingers, and open mouths. If women show the wrong kind of emotion in public, then we're weak. And imaginary God save the female politicians who cries in public. If women if women rein in our emotions too effectively, then we're cold and unemotional, which suggests to some of us that we're conniving, crooked, and not to be trusted. Is this sounding a bit familiar? For men, it's a different game. Our society's constricted ideas of what a man should be mean that they typically have to control their emotions even more so than the women. If with one exception, anger. The communications of a male anger is valid, respected, and excused, even where other reactions like sadness, hurt, fear, shame, guilt might be more appropriate in the same moment. And we are so accustomed to male anger dominating every other male emotional signifier that we fail to recognize that while anger can be useful and powerful as the primary way a man expresses himself, it is usually a sign of of what they call stunted expressive faculties and dangerously limited emotional range. We hardly see male anger as an emotion at all, even while we register that it can be a destabilizing, destructive force. The white hot fat ass 45, the white hot fat ass 45. Well, not hot in the actual aspect of looks. The guy's butt fucking ugly, but yeah. But the fat ass 45 rage that burned up the debate stage on Tuesday night certainly left me wishing that there were two women up there instead of two men, and not because women are inherently gentler and kinder or less angry. We are not, because judging by every prominent and respected woman in politics, women who rise to the top of the political world are nearly all more lucid, emotionally well adjusted, and serious than Fat Ass 45, and frankly, many of them are far more politically talented than Joe Biden. The debate buckle was enough to make you wonder: are men too emotional to be squatting in the White House? The question is facetious, of course, but it's none that has been turned on. When it comes to women seeking involvement in politics for the time immemorial, from when they demand the right to vote. If you know the physical life of a woman, then you know until she is 50, she always has moods and tenses. Read one anti-suffrage pamphlet from around 1915. Right up to the present day, when 13% of Americans and steadily more than 30% of the strong Republicans say that men are better emotionally suited for politics than women, according to research from Georgetown University, and they're drawing on the data from the General Social Survey. This is more of a conservative problem than a Democratic one. While Republican women make up less than 3% of the seats in the House of Representatives, and the United States has never had a female president or vice president from any party, only a third of the Republican voters say that there are too few women in higher office, according to the Pew Research Center, and an overwhelming majority of Republican men reject the idea that discrimination has anything to do with this. Also, according to Pew, almost 50% of those who vote or lean Republican say that the current state of affairs where men dominate politics at every level reflects a country whose progress on gender equality is the last century has been about right. Women are not inherently more emotionally involved than the men, but it is absolutely the case that women in politics are judged for their gender as women in a way that men aren't. That the bar for women isn't just higher, it is rising and falling wildly, making it impossible to clear. The only way to fix this problem of the stereotypes that keep women out of office is to get more of them into office so that women in positions of power become normal, just as politicians and not female politicians. Who would ever say, for example, that someone is a prominent male politician? That's a difficult prescription if women are kept out of office by sexist stereotypes, and the only way to break through those stereotypes is to get more women in office. Well, you see how you wind up causing a cycle of exclusion and sexism, and more so than exclusion. But how we talk about men in politics matters just as much as how we talk about women. When the emotional realm is incorrectly assumed to be feminine, while logic, rationality, leadership, and aggression are reserved for men, we lose the ability to accurately assess and name human behavior on its face. When we distort certain actions or reactions through the lens of gender stereotypes, we are less able to evaluate what those actions and reactions are, like a fat ass losing it on the debate stage. But tell us about a person. Let's call Fat Ass 45's performance Tuesday night what it was, in a hysterical, which was a hysterical outburst that calls into question the Fat Ass's ability to emotionally self-regulate, his psychological well-being, and his basic fitness for the job. So if you like the video, give the video a like and subscribe to my channel, Random Mike, and also hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified when a new video comes out, and thanks for listening.